When doing retainers or potentially other documents where you have a list of things that you want to add up. So a good example is a retainer in estate planning. If it's a married planner, a married with children, or you have some different options there, and then you want to add deeds and different things to it. It's common to want to put that in a table and then give a total for that table. So I've got my document here where I'm just going to start inserting the description and the cost. And the first step I'm going to take is go to my online designer. I'm going to add a new model, and I'm going to call it engagement to lowercase. And I'm going to add a selection. And because I want to be able to add multiple selections to this engagement, I'm going to create it as a list. And I'm just going to call it case options. Now, under my case options, I have two options. Is I can define it below, which I'm going to do in this case, or I could create a new element as a table. But I'm just going to do name, and this will be description. So married client. Then I'm going to do single client deed S&T, kind of our extras. And then I'm going to create a cost, and I'm just going to say that this is say $1,500. This is $1,200. A deed, we'll say $150. Certainly, you might want to add these up a little bit, so it might you may want a little bit extra, but for this case, we'll say $2,500. So we've got our name, we've got our cost, and certainly I could go through and add my date. So engagement date, so I have a little bit more information here. And now, in my family law documents, I'm just going to go ahead and create one called in my family law documents, I'm going to create one called engagement, and it is going to be an object. And then I'm going to select from my engagement. Oh, you save it. Now come and refresh it. I've got my engagement, and I've got my case options. So this is where I'm going to put my case options. First thing I'm going to do is create this as a list without punctuation. Now it'll give me my end list, and I'm just going to put a name in and then the cost. And if I click save, I just need to add this to my app. So I've got retainer. I already did that. Go to family law documents. Now under engagement, I can say, what is it going to be? And I can put the information here. Now I may want to know married client. I may want to have the cost out here, so you can totally do that. I'll just say the date. This is a little bit more advanced, but it can be done. So I'm going to go down to engagement and then put name and colon $sign cost. Okay. I'll pull up statutory forms, and I've got this. So let's say I want these two. I create my retainer, and that's great. I got married client and cost, but really what I want below this is I want one more where I add up the total. So this is the next piece that we'll do. Is this one I do have to go to the designer, and I'm going to go to formulas, and I've actually started creating this already. So I've got a formula called total retainer. It's not going to be estate planning options. It's going to be engagement, and I'm going to come over here to engagement. Dot case options. Yeah, should have done that in the first place. Dot case option. When you are in formulas, you don't put the brackets around. So I'm just going to do a case engagement case options. And then I put reduce result plus cost to int. What's happening here is this is like in Excel you have the sum, so you're summing up everything. This is doing the same thing. So reduce is basically saying we're going to take all the things that I've selected. I'm going to take the result of them, so that, you know, the different lines, and then because it's a table, I'm going to convert cost to an integer, so it can be basically put in as a number as opposed to in text. We're going to save that, and we'll come back to the Word document. I'm going to create one more, and what you're going to see, it's okay to, we do need lists on separate lines. When it's actually created, it will squeeze them all together because it won't see it. And I've checked formulas, so I can come down here to the bottom, which is where my formulas are going to be. I've got total retainer, and I am going to do it with some formatting with the comma and 2 decimals, and then I'll put $sign in front, $sign in front, save it. And now go back to family law. Engagement. And I've got my total. I've added these together. I will show you this. The next step, say I wanted to put a total here, I can put the total in if I want to, and I'll show you this. This is a little bit more intermediate level, so you can stop here if you want. But you'll see retainer. And it totaled it for me and gave me my numbers. Certainly I could also, if I wanted it in decimals, I could do that. Okay, so now I want to actually show that number, the total amount. So what I'm going to do is just go to total retainer. I'm going to copy it and go down to my engagement, my layouts, and I've got my case options. I'm just going to drag total cost of engagement, and then I'm going to put my I gotta get my brackets here. And put that in, and I can put a $sign there. Now when I go back in, at a quick glance, I can see what is happening. So total cost of engagement is 4,000. You'll see if I add, it's just going to total them up as we go. So that gives you a way to know exactly what the cost is. Certainly you could do some discounting off of that if you need, if you are doing discounting. But that is how you can add up totals in tables, and whether on engagement letter or you have other areas that you want to do, you can do the same thing, and it applies to everything. Thanks.